to speak here this afternoon about the Marriage Equality Bill. We're debating it because of the Irish people voting through the marriage referendum in May. I remember speaking as a senator in the other place, it was probably 5-6 years ago now, when we were debating the civil partnership legislation. And in that speech, I praised the Irish people for their live and let live attitude. And I said that I didn't believe that the average Irish person has any interest in denying the rights of same-sex couples to enter into same-sex partnerships, to look after sick loved ones, to inherit the family home or commit to each other for better or for worse. And I think what we saw clearly demonstrated by the Irish people on May the 24th was that equality exists out there. They want to make sure that everybody, every citizen in the state has got the ability to live as they see fit, to share in the benefits of living in a free and equal society. I was at the Count Centre in my local constituency in Ashbourne on that day, and I saw it firsthand, the delight and the optimism that people had when the result started coming through. It was a very positive day. A lot of volunteers were there. The interesting thing was the way that people were ringing in from outside to find out if their village had voted for it. They took great pleasure and pride in knowing that their own village or their own box was voting yes in favour of this. The campaign itself was great fun, I have to say. I've been involved in many campaigns over the years, not as many as others, but I must say that this particular one was very pleasant because it was across the political divide. We canvassed with members of virtually all political parties. Not all, I have to say, but virtually all political parties were out there canvassing for a yes vote. They put in a mighty effort, and they were joined on the doors by a vast array of ordinary citizens, gay and straight, who felt it essential that they got involved in this campaign. They wanted to be part of this. They wanted to show that Ireland was a changed society from perhaps 10 or 20 years ago. And without their hard work and without that type of commitment, I don't think that this referendum would have passed. Of course, the next question is, what does it mean for Ireland? I believe that we now have a greater duty to look after our young LGBT people. We've told them that they're equal. We've seen record numbers of young people coming out. That's increased since the referendum. We need to make sure that the services are in place to look after them. Apart from being a member of this House, I'm a director of the charity Belong To, which deals with service provision for young LGBT people. They're seeing a huge increase in the number of phone calls that they're getting looking for support from young LGBT people. We have to remember that just because we voted yes to marriage equality, it doesn't mean that problems faced by the community have disappeared. There are still problems of isolation, particularly in our rural areas. There are still huge problems faced by young trans people, by people who are from migrant communities, by people from the travelling community too, and they need supports. So we need to make sure that the networks are in place to support them. We need to make sure that the resources are in place to allow those networks to survive and thrive. And it has to be both in urban areas and in rural areas too. In schools, we need to continue to fund anti-homophobic bullying campaigns. We need to make sure that they get involved in things like the Stand Up campaign that Belong To will be running this November in our schools. I was very happy this week to see the INTO launch a new primary school campaign called Different Family, Same Love, which reflects the fact that young people are coming out earlier and earlier, and the average age now is probably more like 11 or 12. So we need to make sure that this information is available in primary school. It's been a great experience to be part of this campaign. I think that we'll see in a few short weeks, after hopefully President Higgins signs this bill, we'll see our first gay marriages in this country. I don't think we should underestimate the impact that this had across the world. It's had a huge impact in Ireland. But if you look at what happened a few short weeks later in the US, where the Supreme Court ruled in favour of gay marriage, I think that's partly because of the message that we sent out to the world. I think in other countries, such as Germany, for instance, similarly we've had an impact. I spoke to politicians there who thanked us for the yes result in the marriage referendum, because that, to them, it means that they can put more pressure on the current government government to actually try to introduce same-sex marriage legislation there. Similarly with countries like Australia. So we've been a beacon of light to the world on this. I think it's fantastic that the Irish people are leading the way. I was never as proud to be an Irish citizen as I was on the day we passed that referendum. Gur Mahagat.